validation, now I validate myself. Building inner strength, putting doubt up on the shelf. No more unnecessary drama, no more wasted time. Climbing higher constantly, making my own climb. Standing on higher ground, where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds. Raising the bar, breaking ground. My network is my net worth. Choose your company wise. Surround yourself with eagles, not with sheep in disguise. Every interaction is a reflection of my brand. Quality over quantity, that's my personal command. Standing on higher ground, where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds. Raising the bar, breaking ground. Whoa. I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision. Cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield. To mediocrity and chaos, I will never yield. I'm manifesting my vision, cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield. To mediocrity and chaos, I will never yield. Standing on higher ground, where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds. Raising the bar, breaking ground. I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision. Cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield. To mediocrity and chaos, I will never yield.
How you doing, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to This and That. I'm your host, Xander, where we're talking about this, that, and everything in between. Had a false start there. That was pretty interesting. Trying to keep track of the days. We're on Saturday, 2025, March 22nd. You know, yesterday I was sitting over here wondering, like, we usually have a large quantity that's usually in here when we're talking about our conversations. And I was like, man, you know, we got a lot of people, but we don't have as many as we usually have. What happened? Oh yeah, that's because Donald Trump was talking yesterday. So we're going to be doing some research over the weekend, trying to figure out all the stuff that Donald Trump was talking about when I was talking, because, you know, we can't both talk at the same time. So I need to figure out what he had to say so I could talk about that on Monday's show. We're also going to be talking about on Monday how the tariffs will be impacting interest rates on loans and mortgages and car insurance and other such, because that is going to be the other areas of inflation where we're going to be negatively impacted with our spending power. We're then going to be talking about all of the new things that he's just talked about over the past 7 days, so that we can make sure that we stay up to date about the decisions that are being made and how our country will be impacted by those decisions. As we get closer to the April 5th date of TikTok going back to being banned a second time, we will be discussing the progress of that as it is made public. So if in the event that TikTok does not confirm its divergence to or divestments to 50% US ownership, we will see TikTok go back off the air, and this time it may be permanent. So keep tuned in that, because those of you that are investing in stocks and bonds, you know that TikTok is an investable stock option. It is just investable in the Chinese market. So if you're trying to make money off of TikTok, not just as an influencer or a content creator, if you're trying to make profits off of TikTok by investing in TikTok shares, first of all, we have to figure out how well TikTok is going to be doing, because if it loses 170 million users due to the ban, the profits are going to drastically drop, since Americans are more wasteful than other countries. And that is going to drastically change the dynamic of the TikTok stock. Likewise, we heard RedTube or Red Flag was another thing that they were using, or not RedTube. RedTube is the other thing. There was another channel that people were utilizing that was a Chinese platform that was less constrictive than TikTok, but that would be something that we will talk about once we have confirmed that TikTok is no longer accessible. In the meantime, make sure that you guys like and subscribe, as we are live 7 nights a week. We are special shout out to those of you that are following us on Twitch and or Twitter. Greatly appreciate that. Make sure that you guys keep your channel up and about. Make sure that you hit that notification button whenever necessary for all of the upcoming shows, because I'm going to at least have Sunday through Wednesday lined up later today, and potentially Thursday and Friday if I find some good topics to discuss. But at definitely Sunday through Wednesday will be up later today, and that will be the guaranteed lineup that we're going to have for the rest of the week. We are live at 10 o'clock ish. We started about 30 minutes late today, but we are at about 10 o'clock ish. So that's 10 o'clock Central Standard Time. That's in the PM. 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. That is also in the PM. And then 7 o'clock California time, which is also in the PMs. Now, those of you that are on the Eastern side of the world, if you guys are watching us, it is 4 a.m. Green Minute Time and Universal Standard Time. So if you got, it's ish. So it might be about 4:30 a.m., but we're still going to tee it off round about 4 a.m. ish. Green Minute Time and Universal Standard Time. You know, we're still working on consistency, but we are making sure that we stand on our word that here on This and That, where we talk about this, that, and everything in between, the sun won't rise unless we go live. We are not going to let it happen. So outside of being dead or in jail, I see myself streaming this podcast 7 days a week, 7 nights a week. And as a result, we will be streaming 7 nights a week. We'll make it happen. We'll make it happen. Tonight, we're going to be discussing the concept of if you are dateable based on the concern that your financial portfolio could be in some way, shape, or form sabotaging or hurting your love life. Now, we have been for months discussing the dating platform and all of its dynamics, and we have come to determine that your finances impact your social life, and your social life impacts your finances. So we're going to determine exactly how much it actually impacts your finances. Special shout out to Red Void and Omni81. We see you guys in the channel there. Greatly appreciate y'all coming to the show. Special shout out to Twitch and Twitter for you guys coming to the show as well. Wondering what's going on with the counter, because we see some people coming in from Twitch, but we're not actually seeing the counter for Twitch rocking right now. Either way, we greatly appreciate you guys coming to the show, because all counters aside, you know, we know that there is some livelihood in about 30 minutes. So as I tee things off, you guys will be able to get your daily dose of knowledge and information, because as they said back in the day with the GI Joes, the more you know, knowing is half the battle. So we're going to try to make sure that you're fully aware of everything that's going on. So today I'm diving deep into the idea of our financial portfolios secretly sabotaging our love lives. Now, as y'all pop in, make sure that y'all like and subscribe, and let's find out together if this is in fact true and what we can do about it, because I'm not just a person that finds a problem. I like to fix it. Unfortunately, with problem solving, it is most effective when you are making changes in the things that you can directly control. Likewise, in situations where you're not able to control those scenarios, you are able to adapt to the possible outcomes, any known or perceived possible outcomes, or remove yourself from the situation so that you are not involved in the negative outcomes as that situation unfolds. So while we look at controlling the aspects of our lives that we could definitely learn from, I'm going to be giving you guys some insights on this, because your finances and your love life can definitely be intertwined with one another in a far different way than just blaming it on the women. So ladies, make sure that y'all hang out here. Special shout out to Bayside diving in. Bayside says, good evening, Xander. It's good to see you, Bayside. It's definitely good to see that you're back. You're at the top of the discussion. So like everybody does, they show up a little bit after the hour just in case I started late, and I started late today. So you're at the top of the discussion. I haven't even gotten into the meat and potatoes of the discussion today. And looking at my schedule, I see myself giving us another 2 hours of discussion time before I have to wrap things up. So we have plenty of time to cover 100% of the information and segue over to some side topics. I understand Donald Trump was talking yesterday while we were live on the show, so I have to figure out what he was discussing, because whatever he had to say is going to make the next moves for our financial deficits in April. So you got to see what that's about. Again, as you guys come in, make sure that you hit that like button, smash those reaction buttons, because the more you smash those reaction buttons, the more the algorithm remembers that we exist as one of the most educational, underrated platforms that all men need to make themselves successful. When we think about what makes a great partner, we often focus on qualities like a sense of humor, shared values, similar interests. But what about our financial portfolios? Could it be that our financial habits and goals are secretly impacting our love lives? When our financial goals clash, or one partner feels overwhelmed by the other's financial decisions, it can create tension and conflict in the relationship. For example, one partner might be a saver, always prioritizing long-term security, while the other partner is a spender, living in the moment. This fundamental difference can cause stress and resentment, especially when it comes to making big purchases or planning for the future. Another common challenge couples face is when one partner feels like they're shouldering the financial burden alone, making all the financial decisions without input or support from their partner. Now, that actually goes both ways, because these same individuals could be shouldering the financial burden on their own in a relationship with a partner that's making all of the financial decisions. So while all of your money is taking care of this situation, somebody else is controlling where the money is going, where you could potentially be unsatisfied with the decision-making process while all of your money is being spent on that decision-making process. This can lead to feelings of resentment and frustration, which can be damaging to the relationship. Sometimes it's not even about big differences in financial goals, but just about the way we communicate about money. When we're not on the same page, it can create a sense of uncertainty and mistrust. For instance, if one partner is hiding debt or making secret purchases, it can be a major breach of trust. I can give you a quick example of that. A buddy of mine, his mom, told him that she didn't have enough money to pay the rent. After he gave her the money for the rent, she made it seem like the landlord had charged them an advance payment fee of $500. So pay the rent early and the landlord taxes you $500. This is unrealistic because no landlord does this. However, he believed her and put in extra overtime to get the $500 to cover the rent. After he covered the rent, a package came in from Amazon about a chair. When a chair came in from Amazon, without checking the receipts, his mom burdened him with the obligation to assemble this chair. After he put the chair together, me and him had a conversation, and I asked him, well, if she was short on the rent, where'd the chair come from? Because you didn't buy it. Putting two and two together, it turns out that the price of the chair was the price of the $500 shortage on the rent money in a house that already had enough furniture in it. Somebody decides to take money that was dedicated to the rent and allocate that to an impulse purchase of something that wasn't necessary for the household. This causes a lack of trust. This causes a friction between the parties involved, because if I can't trust you to do this while I'm at work, then how can I trust the bills to get paid, which now makes it my responsibility to be at work and paying bills at the same time, again, shouldering all of the responsibility. Even little things like not consulting each other on small purchases or being open about financial struggles can add up and create tension over time. I know a lot of women come on the show and say that they should not ever have to tell a man how much money they make or how much money they have. And another woman that I was talking to on the channel, you can see that in the comment section on the channel, where one of the women in one of our past shows was talking about how a man wanting to know what a woman's income is only doing that so that he can determine how much he's going to use her. Now, clearly, these women are individuals that have been involved in toxic relationships where they may have experienced this in the past, or these individuals are just toxic in and of themselves. But typically, that type of toxic behavior comes from somewhere. You're not just born toxic. That is instilled in your upbringing. You watch this with the adults around you, whether it's your parents or the neighbor's parents or your relatives or whatever. You see this on TV. But this isn't something that like you're born toxic. That doesn't happen. But the fact is that the toxic mindset of these individuals, that her financially disclosing her contributions to the balance of the household is a tactic for a man to squander her money. That is unrealistic. However, as I've said before on previous shows, if you think about it, you have the ability to at least disclose the quantity of money you're willing to contribute to the relationship. Now, full transparency requires you to talk about every dollar you earn, your gross income. Gross income is the total amount of money that comes in. Your net income is different. Your net income is what's left over after taxes is done, after the cost of running your operation is done. Whatever's left is your net. Now, your net income could be the quantity of income that you're going to contribute into the relationship, and that should be disclosed. Any income you're not willing to invest in a relationship, I can see it within reason being something that you're not going to talk about. Likewise, though, if you are going to withhold a certain portion of your money that is not dedicated to the relationship, whenever you decide to do something special, do something important, or do something that requires a large quantity of money, short the threshold of communication with your partner, you're supposed to do it out of your cut without subtracting your guaranteed contribution to the relationship, which would allow you to buy special gifts for your partner as a surprise without them knowing about it. But if you guys agree that anything over $1,000 or anything over $2,000, we got to talk about that. It don't matter if it's your money or my money. You shouldn't be making a big purchase without talking to your partner about it. If that's the agreement in the relationship, then if you decide to spend money on a gift and that gift just so happens to cost more than $1,000, you're going to have to pass by your partner and be, well, hypothetically, how would you feel about X, Y, and Z if it costs A, B, and C dollars? And under that hypothetical conversation, your partner might be able to give a yes or no to whether or not that would be an okay buy. And if you don't get a green light based on that conversation, probably shouldn't spend money on that. Because if you throw up the hypothetical about buying a new car and your partner throws up the hypothetical, that's not fiscally responsible for our current situation. Then you come back with a car. You realize that the conversation you're going to have is, I told you we couldn't afford this. Not that I didn't give you permission to buy it. Likewise, if you did get the green light, like, oh, I wouldn't be upset if something like that were to occur. If the purchase came in, you can't say, I didn't tell you that it was okay to buy that. You clearly said in the hypothetical discussion that you wouldn't be objective to a purchase like that. Uniformity. Now, on top of that, financial stress can be a major romance killer when we're worried about making ends meet or paying off debt. It's hard to relax and enjoy each other's company when we are stressed out about money. So there's a lot of women that down men and devalue men. And there are situations where the reverse happens, where some men down women and devalue women because of their inability to perform in the bedroom, when the lack of intimacy is the result of stress, anxiety, and frustration from the financial situation that the household has to conduct itself in. Alleviating some of that stress and anxiety and frustration would open up room for more intimacy in the relationship. So broke folks spend more time grinding to get money than they spend expressing their affections to one another, which you guys got to change that. You need to be able to make time to show each other that you're important to each other, but you also need to be able to reassess your finances in a better fashion so that you don't have so much of a financial constraint. Now, the constant stress and anxiety can make us irritable and short-tempered, which can be toxic to a relationship. Financial stress can also make us feel like we're stuck, like we're not making progress or achieving our goals, which can be demotivating and disappointing. A person's financial portfolio can indeed have a significant impact on their love life, though it may not always be in the way one might expect. While wealth can provide certain advantages, it can also introduce unique challenges in romantic relationships. Research suggests that how a person views and handles money can affect their relationship satisfaction more than their actual wealth. People who highly value material possessions and see their self-worth as contingent on their financial position tends to have lower relationship satisfaction. So, ladies, and I got to come to y'all about this first. In the situations where you define how much your boyfriend or husband cares about you based on how much money he spends on you, where same type of person might value a man's worthiness to date her based on his financial capabilities to pay to entertain her, you're going to be less satisfied with your romantic relationship because your satisfaction is dependent upon the wealth distributed in your direction. And money doesn't make people happy. It really doesn't. You might have less stress on your plate. Greed might allow you to have joy in the ability to be wasteful and not have to worry about financial constraints after being wasteful, but you're not going to be happy about the limitless quantity of money. You're just not going to have the burden of financial stress. Some people might say that, well, that'll make me happy. No, you're still going to be alone. You're still not going to be valuable by to other people because your character defines who you are. When you are the one with the money that has to be spent, you are going to be the person that's going to want them to respect you for something other than your money. When you are not the person with the money that is being spent. You have no problem with making money a criteria for success because it ain't your money. But when it becomes your money, when you're put in the role of the spender, you are not going to want someone else to spend up all of your hard-earned money. Now, this indicates that it's not necessarily the size of one financial portfolio, but rather their attitude towards money that can potentially sabotage their love life. So these gold digger videos with these chicks that's out there blocking dudes, and then once they see the dude walk to the car, and I've noticed these gold digger videos because these gold digger videos, they don't show how the guy rushes to the car nearby. He's not way down the road. He's probably 15, 20 steps away from the car, so that we all know that everybody who walks off from a potential engagement always tends to look back at it, male and female alike. Some count to 2, some count to 5. The averages count to 3 and then look back. And what happens is, because the guy is 3 to 5 seconds away from the car, if he's standing on the sidewalk, when the girl looks back, she sees him walking up to the driver's side of an expensive vehicle. She will stop, turn around, see if he gets into that vehicle. Then when he gets into that vehicle, she rushes back over to that vehicle with a completely different attitude, because her mindset is, if he can afford this, he must have money. Well, shit, if he bought that, he probably spent all of his money. But that's not what she's thinking. Now, since the only thing that made her talk to him was the car that he drove, his negative attitude to her, now that he's in an expensive car and she's standing on the outside of it, is that he's not interested in her the way she wasn't interested in him when she thought that they were equal because they were both walking. Because notice, you've never seen a gold digger video where a guy pulls a girl over and he's talking to her in her car. It's always him within walking distance from his car talking to her while they're both on foot with the clothes on their back to identify their self-worth. And in every gold digger video, it takes the guy going back to an expensive car for the girl to turn into a gold digger. She wasn't a gold digger when he first approached her. The gold digger title came when she changed her attitude and decided to be involved in the guy under the basis that he had an expensive car. That's what made her a gold digger. Because if she wasn't interested in him, doesn't matter what car he drives. He could have a Mercedes, he could have a limo, he could be getting out of a Bugatti. If she's not interested, she's not interested, because it has nothing to do with his wealth. But if she's only interested because now she thinks you got money, that's what defines her as the gold digger. And those types of individuals are not going to be as satisfied in their relationships, because if these guys outside of the gold digger videos were to take the girl's new advances, she wasn't interested in him when she thought he was broke. Now she's willing to entertain him because she thinks he's got money. He could take advantage of her false perception of his standard of living. He could take her out or not take her out, give her a ride around town in a car, smash her in the back seat of the car, drop her off, and never talk to her again. He could take her out, take her to a nice dinner, and then after that nice dinner, take her to a hotel. He could be living in a Section 8 house, but he could take her to a hotel. Doesn't even have to be an expensive one. Make the excuse that he doesn't bring people back to his house on the first date, but still smash on the first date. He could take her back to her place so that he doesn't have to waste money on the hotel and still smash on the first date, specifically because she got to ride around town in an expensive car. Now, women are going to say that that type of man is using her, but you're using him because you wasn't interested in him until you thought he had money. And then when you realized that he might spend his money on you, you became open. So y'all used each other. Now, this is how bad relationships start, because some people will make that a habit. If you've become his consistent sex partner, he's become your consistent entertainment cash flow. Y'all are turn that into a relationship. Now, when you stop sleeping with him or he stops paying for your entertainment, y'all start having fights in a relationship, and y'all usually break up 1 year, 5 months, 6 days into the relationship. And then you got to start all over again. Couples who share similar financial values tend to report higher relationship satisfaction. This suggests that compatibility in money attitudes may be more crucial for relationship success than actual size of one's portfolio. Partners with vastly different views on spending, saving, or importance of wealth may experience more conflicts and lower relationship quality. Special shout out to Mr. Satellite. I seen him in the middle of 2 paragraphs. He is back for round 26. We're going to see if it is sad that I can't go live 5 times a day so that I can beat out the daily live podcast of the WWE, so that I could be the most released channel in social media. But Mrs. Saladite is going to carry the title as probably one of the most viewed podcast fans in the channel. If we're going to keep count of this, he's going to go into the Guinness Book of Records. Now, granted, we were live for like 300 something days before he started coming in, but actually, no, it's more like 400 something days, because we started November 1st of 23. But by the end of this year, this guy should have almost 300 views under his belt. All we need now is for Usman and Carl to dive in, and Joseph Hernandez to dive in, and we'll have the dream team in here with Bayside. And if Nico shows in, we really got the whole clan. Interestingly, while wealth can enhance overall life satisfaction, meaning that you don't have stress on your plate, you have the freedom to go and do the things that you want to do without having to be concerned about how much it costs or if you'll have any money left over to take care of your responsibilities, it doesn't guarantee success in romantic relationships. Affluent individuals often report difficulties in finding genuine love and companionship. This wealth-love paradox can be attributed to several factors, such as a narrow dating pool, specifically because individuals with wealth or reasonably self-perceived wealth are limiting their ability to be dated by individuals that do not match or exceed the wealth status. Emphasis on specific characteristics on potential partners. And a lot of times those characteristics are not related to common traits that individuals have. For example, the women that want a man that is 6'5", where 1% of men are 6'5" around the world, and you're trying to find 6'4", 6'5", 6'2", and making over $100,000 a year. It doesn't matter what race they are. You're at a loss when you set those dynamics. And then the altered perceptions of romantic relationships, whereas we talked about yesterday that individuals that treat dating like a commodity, where if they put up a certain quantity of money, they'll get a certain quantity of relationship characteristics or behavior patterns from the other person. You're basically doing the Riley theory, where you're renting the girl. And the reason why I say it that way is because ladies do not very often pay, and they're definitely not going to feel comfortable with paying all the time for the attention of a man. Now, there are some older women that are outside of their prime, and they may not have a problem with investing in some intimacy every now and again. But these are women in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and older. The women in their 30s and 20s are not interested in doing that. They're not even really interested in investing in themselves having entertainment. So for the fact that they would have to pay somebody else to give them entertainment, there's not very many women that's willing to do that, because there's not very many women that can rationalize the logic behind that. I don't blame them. Now, wealth can sometimes negatively influence the relationship dynamics. It may lead to a more relaxed attitude towards unethical behaviors, such as cheating, potentially causing trust issues. Affluent individuals might feel more entitled to pure, attractive alternative outside their relationship, meaning that the person that they're attracted to does not have to have any value outside of lust, greed, and gluttony. And they will indulge themselves in pure lust because they have no other value in that person. Whereas the other person that they're in a relationship with that has other value that is not solely related to lust is now feeling mistreated and deceived on the behavior. We come to understand that the more wealthy a man is, the more options he can sustain at the same time. I mean, women become more wealthy, but they're not exploring more options at the same time. The men would be the ones that would have a wife, a mistress, a girlfriend, maybe twins. Look at Nick Cannon. He had 5 children, 5 months in a row, back to back, in the same year. That means he had 5 girls at the same year, month to month apart. I'm talking about like May, April, May, June, or sorry, it was, if I remember correctly, May, June, July, August, and September, if I remember correctly, where they were like back to back, one child born every month by a different woman in the same year. And likewise, they probably all are in different states, 5 different states. And I could do some research on it, but the man might be somewhere around 12 to 14 children by 12 to 14 different women, because he has the financial status to do it. And if he's paying a decent quantity of child support to the women, where the women don't necessarily have to work, they're not even going to object to his lifestyle choice, because he has enough wealth to cover the standard of living that she wants. Regardless of whether or not he's involved in the children's lives, the women are not contesting his lifestyle choice with having multiple women, because each woman is financially satisfied with the amount of wealth that he provides them. Wealth can distract us from developing interpersonal intimacy. Now, granted, I talk to you guys on the show a lot of times to focus on trying to increase your wealth so that you don't have to struggle in your older years. But I'm not trying to get you guys to be Donald Trump wealthy. Now, if you make it there, granted, you deserve it. But that's not the goal. You could say that's a long-term goal, but realistic expectations. If you're in the red, if you've got more money going out on bills than you got money coming in to pay them, and you follow the show on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, where you learn from this channel how to reduce your costs and increase your profits so that you can no longer be robbing Peter to pay Paul or borrowing against a stone, where you can then put your efforts into successfully creating the type of lifestyle where you not only do not have to work. If you work, it's by choice, and you have the capabilities to continue to have the standard of living that you are satisfied with. That is the threshold as in which you can comfortably stop building. You don't have to stop. You can keep going. You can aim to be a billionaire before your last breath. You see that Biden is like 80 something years old. Trump is 70 something years old. You can aim before your 81st birthday to be a billionaire. And if you make the right financial decisions, if you start a 40-year plan from 25 or 35 years old, you might actually make it there. But if you don't, the goal to say, let's reach a millionaire from being poor. You want to set a 20-year plan. You want to set a 40-year plan where you can make it to a million before your 60th or 70th birthday, where you have enough money to live off of for the remainder of your life, where you can stop working, stop struggling. Hardest part about your day is finding things to invest in so that you don't have to pay taxes on stuff. That is when you can retire. That's when you can stop. And you should spend the remainder of your days teaching your legacy how to maintain the success that you built. That would be the sensible thing to do. That way, it doesn't go to waste. You spent a lifetime to build this wealth, and hopefully for generations to come, your kinfolk, generations after you, will benefit from your legacy. Now, research indicates that socioeconomic statuses can affect how relationships maintain, and the maintenance process is going to function completely different. For example, the demand or withdrawal patterns typically associated with lower relationships satisfaction in affluent couples may actually be positively associated with relationship outcomes in lower income couples. Meaning that individuals that are backing out of the deal in lower satisfaction of relationships, where you're disappointed in a relationship, in a wealthy relationship, is equivalent to the positive outcomes of lower income families. Now, spotting financial red flags early in the dating phase can indeed save you from potential heartache and unhealthy relationships. If your date is unwilling to discuss their financial situations or seems secretive about money matters, this could be a warning sign. You want to be cautious of individuals who try to manipulate you through money, make you feel guilty about your financial situation, or pressure you into paying for things. So, in those situations where they're telling you that you're not a man because real men would have paid for this, or, my man would have bought X, Y, and Z, well, then the response is, I must not be your man because I am not paying for that. The challenge that comes about from this, when individuals challenge your masculinity or challenge your manhood by attributing financial investment towards masculinity, forces a man to prove that he is a man by investing in something that he otherwise would not invest in, which would be a stupid move if you invest in it. But the fact is, that is a form of manipulation. We have a lot of individuals that are familiar with the word gaslighting, but they forget about the ideology of manipulation. When you say you want to go shopping, then you start grabbing a bunch of stuff off the shelf and go to the register. You look over at your partner and expect your partner to pay for all that. Your partner didn't ask you if he or she could pay. You didn't ask your partner if he or she would pay. You said that you wanted to go shopping. You didn't say that you were going shopping with their money. So in the situation where you're at the register now and the requirement to pay is relevant, and now you are belittling and devaluing your partner because your partner, it's been brought to their attention that your expectation for them to pay, because you wanted to go on a shopping spree. You decided that you wanted to impulse buy. You decided that you wanted to waste capital that isn't yours. You didn't ask for permission for that. When you're in that type of scenario, you were supposed to leave that person at the register with everything at the register, get in the car, go back to the house, put their stuff on the porch, change the locks. By the time they get back to the house, they are no longer welcome at that address. I'm being serious. I know a lot of us were taking women out on dates. Ladies, this applies to you too. If you're in a situation where a man would say, oh, my girl would pay, shit. If we didn't discuss that beforehand, the expectation for payment is not on me because I did not approve of this discussion. I didn't approve of this investment. We have to make sure that we set non-negotiable expectations for behavior with our capital now. We're going to be talking about that in a minute. Now, you want to pay attention if your partner frequently uses credit cards but only pays the minimum balance each month or has multiple cards that are often declined when you guys go out and try to spend money together. They got like 20 or 30 credit cards. They're sifting through all of these cards, trying to find one that works to make the payment. That's because your ass is broke. But if you've got all of these credit cards and they're all maxed out, where's your money going? While being thrifty is generally positive, watch out for extreme behavior like reducing the quantity of food that you eat or the quantity of required medication that you might need to avoid spending money. That is a red flag. When somebody takes you out on a date, even if they're paying, they allow you to get whatever you want on the menu. And you're ordering steak and lobster because you're greedy. They're looking at what you ordered and they just say, oh, I just want a glass of water or something like that. I'm not hungry. I'll just eat the free breadsticks. There's a money issue there. If your greedy ass ain't willing to share your plate of food with your partner who clearly can't afford what the hell you just asked for, then you got two problems. But the fact is that if this person, if you go out on a date with somebody, ladies, follow this rule of thumb. Y'all look at the menu together. Let him select what he wants first. Not because he's a man, because he's buying. He sets the standard as to what appropriate is with spending. If he bought something that's $10, you should not be asking for something that's $75. He orders something that's $25. You should not be looking at something that's $150. Likewise, if he managed to take you to Olive Garden, and Olive Garden sometimes have those specials where you buy 2 dinners for $25. If he starts talking about buying a dinner for $25 and you see on the menu where you could get that same plate of food twice for $25, if you don't offer to split that plate of food, there's something wrong. There's something wrong. Because if you were the one spending that money, you would hope that the person you paying for don't break the bank. They don't charge it to the Underhills. They're not keeping up with the Joneses. So when you're on the receiving end of it's on me, you should not be trying to TI. You can have whatever you like and just order the whole left side of the menu because you can't decide. You should be able to recognize reasonable spending. Again, you should talk to your partner before y'all even open the menu. What's a good plate value? You know that they're going to have some men that's going to tell you it don't matter. I understand that it doesn't matter, but what would be an appropriate amount though? Even though the sky's the limit, what would be an appropriate amount? What do you think? Like $25 a plate, $30 a plate? You think that'll be an appropriate amount? Like literally get confirmation as if he was on the receiving end of this situation. Would he choose a $25 or $30 amount per person budget? He's going to break down and he's going to answer that question. When he answers that question, that's the limit that you stick to. Because then you also got to think about this. If there is literally no limit, that he's about to order the most expensive thing on the menu and he challenges you to do the same, you also have to understand that the person that you're sitting across from is wasteful. So this isn't about him impressing you, and this isn't about you being a gold digger. This is about you, ladies, recognizing the characteristics in the man that you choose, because we're having a conversation today about how financial decisions can negatively impact future relationships. If you're dating a person that's wasteful on the first 5 dates, yeah, you have a good time. But can he really afford this? And if he can, how much investment could he have made with that money, where the profits from those investments could have afforded to do way more on a consistent basis, where instead of y'all having this one time fantastic moment, y'all can have a lifetime of fantastic moments. Think about it. Instead of living for the day, live for the rest of your life. Now, refusals to talk about money could indicate hidden debt, excessive spending habits like charging the whole left side of the menu on dates, or expensive 5-star lavish dates. Or you could also determine some other financial issues that they're trying to conceal, like when you get in their car and the fuel lights on, but they're not going to stop by a gas station. What's the problem? Truth. You're in that situation where they paid for the date. You should offer to fill their tank. You should put the same quantity of money into their tank that they paid for your meal. 1, you don't owe them nothing. 2, you're reciprocating, which 3 shows some value, because while that man might have paid for the whole dinner, the woman filled his gas tank. That's a partner. And depending on the size of the vehicle, filling his gas tank might cost more than a dinner. Which, ladies, I'm going to be honest with you. If I showed up with a quarter tank of gas in my car and I spent $250 on you, and you just spent $110 on putting gas in my car, God forbid it costs that much, but it's just for the sake of the fact that it do, you earned a second date. Because hands down, every man watching the show right now can tell you, they ain't never had a woman fill their tank on the first date. They ain't never had one. If you offer to pay your half of the bill, that's the best we get. And no man ever had a woman say, I will fill your tank on the first date. They might let you get some, but they not going to offer for premium gas. Now, we're not talking about the cheap stuff. We talk about premium gas. We talk about almost $5 a gallon for a 20-gallon tank kind of thing. Not too many women are willing to do that. So you start showing your value around the way when you start doing this. If your date is constantly borrowing funds from family and friends, it may signal poor financial management. If you always find out that you're dealing with a person that's got a charged off a bank account, or something's in a negative, they got NSF fees, they got to go and pay the overdraft on their account. They're making plans to cover overdrafts. They're making plans to overdraft, knowing they don't got enough money to do it, because they're going to get enough money to cover the overdraft. All of these things show bad financial management. A partner who doesn't show interest in long-term financial planning or goals might not be fiscally compatible with you, especially if you are following this channel and you are trying to set your 20-year plan where you are trying to make yourself successful so that in the next 15 to 20 years, you do not have to work for nobody else. And anybody who is living a type of lifestyle that compromises your objectives is not compatible for your lifestyle. Ladies, I tell you all the time that a man has to be a partner to your objectives, and you ladies have to be in a partner to his objectives. So his success in his ability to be a millionaire should be the same as your success in your ability to be a millionaire. Y'all should be co-millionaires together. Secretive spending habits are a huge red flag. If your partner is not transparent about their spending, it could be the biggest red flag, because gambling or other risky financial behaviors are habits that can lead to significant financial problems in the future. Deferring views on spending priorities and financial objectives can create challenges in a relationship due to compatible financial views. So when somebody asks you if you want to pay for something, if you want something that needs to be paid for, would you prefer to have this? Would you prefer to pay for it? Any kind of question that's related to finance where your opinion to deliberate is requested. Your refusal to contribute a response interferes with your partner's ability to determine your compatibility, where he or she would not be able to make changes to satisfy your financial expectations. Their decision-making process cannot be adjusted to take into consideration your personal financial expectations, which also will put you in a position where you will be unsatisfied with the financial standard, the financial distribution, and the lack of financial success, which will leave you resenting the relationship, frustrated at every turn, and potentially looking for an out. And in some situations, you find that out with somebody else. So remember, one, communication about finances, opening your communication about finances is crucial for a healthy relationship. If you encounter these red flags, it's important to address them early on, and you want to make sure that you determine if you're financially compatible with your partner, and if in the event that you guys can make any potential changes, that you do so early on in a relationship. The sooner you address this, the better, because the longer things linger in a certain negative fashion, the harder it is for you guys to make change. Because as I've told you guys time and time again, the first rebuttal that comes up is, why wasn't this a complaint before? You never had a problem with it before. That's not true. It's not that I never had a problem with it before. I never said anything about it before. And justifiably, why didn't you? And truthfully, there is no real excuse as to why you didn't say anything about it sooner. Outside of the fact that your nose was wide open, you hope that this relationship would last forever. You thought that you could swing it, but you can't. And this other person is out of control with their spending habits, and you just really need to put a thumb on the situation. Now, when we're able to talk openly and honestly about our financial goals and struggles, it can bring us closer together. It's not always easy, but it's worth it. By working together as a team, we can create a more balanced and sustainable financial plan that works for both partners. This can actually bring us closer together, creating a sense of unity and cooperation due to the fact that we can make plans for our success by leaning on our ability to agree on goals and both put forth the ample effort to invest in those goals. When we're able to agree on something, where even if we're going to take turns buying the things that we desire, we might buy yours first and then we might buy mine after. If we both put our money together and get what you wanted, and then we both put our money together to get what I wanted, eventually we both got what we wanted. And we didn't have to try so hard to get it. We're just about guaranteed to reach the levels of success that we're looking for, because we have the type of partner that not only makes sacrifices for us, but does not take advantage of us when we make sacrifices for them. And as a result, we will not take advantage of them when they make those sacrifices for us. And when we're not stressed out about money, we can focus on what really matters, enjoying each other's company and building a fulfilling life together. When a business faces financial difficulties, implementing a well-structured turnaround strategy can transform challenges into opportunities for growth and profitability. He said 26.9. He left and came back. Well, we've been covering a lot of stuff about finances. So we've been covering about finances and relationships. Make sure that y'all like and subscribe as y'all dive in. I see Red Void and jumped in. Omni81, Liberty Twitcher, Silly Emma, DJ Dink. I see y'all up in there. AJ, I see y'all up in there. He left. He went swiping through YouTube. He ended up back at this channel because for some reason this channel is still on your For You page no matter how many times you swipe. All I can say is make sure that you hit them reaction buttons if you've already liked the screen. Now, what's that music called in your intro? Okay. So there's a link in the channel that you have for Higher Ground. That is on a YouTube channel. It's also got a link for you to purchase it from Amazon. That's the intro and the outro. There's two different versions of it. You have the intro Higher Ground and the outro Higher Ground. And it's actually labeled on the YouTube channel as Higher Ground intro, Higher Ground outro, because they were made exclusively for the show. The other one is non-negotiables, which is the one of the other songs on the track. There's 5 songs on the track. There's a third version of Higher Ground that I didn't use for the show. Because they just decided to just keep making songs. Then they have Elevation Protocol, which is the other song that they created for the show. So there's technically 2 versions of Higher Ground, 3 versions of Higher Ground, but 2 that you've heard, one at the intro, one at the outro, non-negotiables that you guys listened to yesterday, and Elevation Protocol, which I think I played for you guys once before on the show. And they are all made by alanito.music, and they're really hitting. We're analyzing the progress of it right now. He was talking to me about all of the different places that have produced a song. So we're looking at getting the viewer count of it so far from organic traffic, needless to say, and we're going to see exactly how many people have actually listened to the song. But those of you, I think I can give you a rundown of them real quick, because we do got a little bit of time on the show. I can give you guys a rundown of it real quick. Let's see. We have this one. This one is the intro. So some of you guys missed this one when the show starts.
Higher ground.
Which is, and I think I got all 3 of them up here. I can give you guys each one of them. Oh, actually, I think this one is the outro. This one is the outro.
Building inner strength, putting down upon the shelf.
They're almost the
No
same.
more unnecessary drama, no more wasted time. Climbing higher, constantly making my own climb. Standing on higher
Yeah, this is the outro.
where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds. Raising the bar, breaking ground.
Now here's the other one. This is the one that you guys don't hear. This is the other Higher Ground, the third version. I kind of feel like I should use this one for like a special occasion kind of situation and kind of just throw it in there.
Used to chase validation, now I validate myself. Building inner strength, putting doubt up on the shelf. No more unnecessary drama, no more wasted time. Climbing higher constantly, making my own climb.
I can
Standing on higher
always imagine a
ground,
WrestleMania type crowd and just go out there and just knock out John Cena, take strings, have him top off our title,
breaking ground.
cash in the Money in the Bank, walk out with 2
My
championships.
network is my network. Choose your company wise. Surround yourself with eagles, not with sheep in disguise. Every interaction is a reflection of my brand. Quality command. Standing on higher ground, where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds.
Thinking about it,
Raising the bar,
if you
breaking
imagine,
ground.
you could be rocking out to something like this at like 180 miles an hour on the interstate in your Hellcat Demon and not figure that the police
My
are behind you.
network is my network. Choose your company wise. Surround yourself with eagles, not with sheep in disguise. Every interaction is a reflection.
This is probably the only one that I haven't played for you guys.
Quality over quantity, that's my personal command. That's my personal command.
Especially this part. I can imagine pyros going off everywhere.
I'm
Crowd goes
not
wild.
just living, I'm manifesting my vision, cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield. To mediocrity and chaos, I will never yield. Standing on high.
I'm gonna have to use this as an alternate entry.
Where
This is so cool,
excellence
that's
is found. My potential knows no bounds. Raising the bar, breaking ground. I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision, cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield. To mediocrity and chaos, I will never yield.
I tell you, when they made this for us, I was like, wow. I really fell back in my chair with that. This is the other one that they had made. You were asking me about the intro. This is the intro song. It's also called Higher Ground.
Higher ground.
This reminds me of 8th Day or Evolution or The Groove.
Used to chase validation, now I validate myself.
Now, I'm going to give you
Building
Elevation
inner strength.
Protocol. This is the other one. Completely different lyrics.
Walking through the noise, cut through the static. My standards are no suggestion, they're automatic. No compromising, no time for the average game. Elevating myself, that's my only aim.
And you
This
can type
is
the
the
title
elevation
and it'll pull up
Rising
the
above
song.
the chaos, taking control.
And
My
you
values
can also
non-negotiable,
click the
my
link
worth
in
is
the
my law.
description.
Surrounding myself with excellence, that's what I saw.
Should be below the video, but if you're looking at it on a For You page, it might be off to the side. If you
Low
click,
vibrations can't exist in my atmosphere.
It's not all the
Curate my
songs listed there.
circle, crystal clear and
You click the
sincere.
first
Success is my
song and
language,
it'll take
respect
you
is my currency.
where you
Mediocrity
can
falls away from my
Or,
urgency.
if you click the second link,
This is the elevation protocol. Rising above the
Amazon Prime,
chaos,
and like
taking
that,
control.
clicking
My
on
values
download.
non-negotiable, my worth is my law. Surrounding myself with excellence, that's what I saw.
And this part right here is 6 feet. Because it actually like rounds out and uses out from one ear to the other.
To greatness, demanding excellence, no time for complacence. Act right or act out, the choice is always clear. My presence is my power, my standards draw the line here.
Again, I'm sitting over here thinking about alternative ways to utilize these. Probably gonna have to have this as background music when I'm out there testing in tech as we go to
This is the
places to make work.
elevation protocol. Rising above the chaos, taking control. My values non-negotiable, my worth is my law. Surrounding myself with excellence, that's what I saw. I'm not building walls, I'm building bridges to greatness. Demanding excellence, no time for complacence. Act right or act out, the choice is always clear. My presence is my power, my standards draw the line here.
imagine that the bass is hitting real hard on it.
My values non-negotiable, my worth is my law. Surrounded myself with excellence, that's what I saw. This is the elevation protocol. Rising above the chaos, taking control. My values non-negotiable, my worth is my law. Surrounded myself with excellence, that's what I saw. I'm not building walls, I'm building bridges to greatness. Demanding excellence, no time for complacence. Act right or act out, the choice is always clear. My presence is my power, my standards draw the line here.
I can really see this being a fifth song for Elimination Chamber or Hell in a Cell
I'm not building walls,
or
I'm building
TLC.
bridges to greatness. Demanding excellence, no time for complacence. Act right or act out, the choice is always clear.
I could also see like Chris Jericho using this.
My standards draw the line here.
Have to go against Walter Jericho. The instrumental alone is like invigorating.
Demanding excellence, no time for complacence. Act right or act out, the choice is always clear. My presence is my power, my standards from the line here.
Oh, I can imagine a promo right now.
I'm not building walls, I'm building
We're gonna have to start putting some stuff together, because this is really good.
Act right or act out, the choice is always clear. My presence is my power, my standards draw the line here. I'm not building walls, I'm building bridges to greatness. Demanding excellence, no time for complacence. Act right or act out, the choice is always clear. My presence is my power, my standards draw the line here. My standards draw the line here.
Oh wow.
My standards draw the line here. I'm not building walls.
And then the other one that we listened to the other day, which was non-negotiable. Elevation Protocol was loud. So this one was the one that we was listening to the other day, and it's also called non-negotiable. Which actually kind of works with what we're talking about today, because we're about to get into some non-negotiable discussions with finance. So these are the 5 podcast songs that were made for us by alanito.music from Switzerland. He told me that the promoter of it is in Denmark. So special shout out to them, as they are producing music all over the place. It's crazy. So we're actually getting music from Switzerland that is being promoted by Denmark in America. If that's not international business, I don't know what is. And we're here in America making it work. So this is just one of the things that we do on This and That. And I got to always plug somebody that I socialize with, because I would not be as successful as I am without all the people around me. So I make sure that the moment somebody sees my success, that I've got to throw out a laundry list for all of the individuals that are aiding me in my ability to be successful. Speaking of, let's throw it out there for all of those individuals that have been showing us support on the channel, because you guys have done a good job of making us successful through your views, your likes, your reactions. Make sure you keep hitting those reaction buttons. If you haven't already, hit that like and subscribe button, because I know that this is some pretty good music right here. It's going to be underrated because not too many people know about it, because it just got released in December, and it's not like it's on the front lines of any rock star album or anything like that. But this is definitely motivational and inspirational music. I can see you working out with this at the gym or just rocking out in the car. But imagining yourself living a successful lifestyle that requires this type of background music, that in and of itself is motivation enough to get out there and make it happen. To be able to not just have a highlight reel of success as a background to this music, but to actually have a lifestyle that is supported by this type of music. That is a good goal to set. But again, it's going to require you to have a 20-year plan, and you got to stick with it. So that was non-negotiables, which was the fifth song on the album. So if you guys are interested in those, make sure that you decide to grab those out of the description, because they have all 5 songs there. You can access them from YouTube or some of the other places where music is played. I'm going to get a list of places where you can find these songs from alanito.music. And then once I get a list of all the places that he knows that the song is being aired, I'll be able to share that with you guys, where you guys can know where to go and get it, because I'm sure that it's on Spotify and other places like that. And for those of you that are willing to get it, that are only willing to get it on the free ski, like I said, you got access to it on YouTube. It might be accessible on Pandora. You just got to type in the name and see if you can find it on those platforms. But I know that it's here on YouTube, and I'm pretty sure, because we talked about it on Shopify, that it should be on not Shopify, Spotify, and then it might be on a couple of other platforms. But yeah, like I said, I'm gonna get that information for you. Now, back to today's topic. For those of you that hung out for that 15-minute interlude, you want to, when we're discussing the turnaround strategy for restructuralizing your business, which is the same thing that you will be doing with restructuralizing your relationship, you want to conduct internal audits, and you want to review monthly financial statements the same way that Doge is auditing the government. And you want to monitor financial ratios to identify the root causes of the decline in your profit margin. You want to evaluate the product or service lines to determine profitability, because if it's not making you any money, it needs to be increasing your efficiency and your productivity. You want to identify unprofitable segments and decide whether to restructure or discontinue them. Restructuring an unprofitable segment would require you to increase the results of your investment or reduce your investment for the required results. I've had some individuals that wanted to offer to help me with my SEOs, and their guarantee that they would aid me in boosting visibility for my channel. And I talked to these guys, and I'm like, look, I'm able to do this much on my own. So in order for me to invest in you, I've got to be able to turn a profit. I would explain to them, this is the quantity of capital that we would get off of a certain quantity of viewership over this time length of views. And in order for you to be profitable to me, you would have to generate this much profit off of your ability to draw traffic to the channel, which would then in turn get you paid, because I'm going to get paid and you're going to get paid too. in a situation where you're driving traffic to my channel through advertisement, but there's less money coming in from your advancements than the amount of money that is costing me to pay for your advancements, then ultimately you're going to be the only person turning a profit off of this. It's not beneficial for me to invest in something that only pays you. Only if I'm going to get paid too does it make sense. Now, how much is a reasonable amount for me to get paid? Well, if I am paying you and you are making the majority of it, in all business scenarios, it makes more sense that if you're doing all of the work to get the results, that I should get 20%, 10%, 15%, somewhere in that ballpark of profit off of 100% of the revenue earned from your efforts. Now, that's on the low end. Now, a lot of other companies might say, no, I got to make 60%, 50%, 40%. But reasonably speaking, just like in real estate, the real estate investors expect to see a 20% minimum profit off of their investment. So if they put up 100,000, they're expecting to get 20,000 back as a profit. So their 100,000 comes back and their 20,000 comes back. Now, depending on the cost of the project, if they have to put $50,000 or $75,000 into the project on top of the 100,000 that they're putting down, they're probably going to have to sell the house for $250,000 or $225,000, probably $250,000, because the broker is going to get 6%, the agent's going to get 6%, then the investors that invested on the deal is going to have to get their percentage, and then what's left should be 20% of what you put into it. So if you're walking away with the $20,000 after everybody else has gotten their cut, you made a good profit off of your investment. But now if you're trying to maintain a decent standard of living, you're probably going to have to do that 4 to 6 times a year, which means that on average, you're selling a house every other month in order to maintain that standard of living. Because 4 times a year at $20,000 per sale is $80,000 lifestyle. 6 times per year is $120,000 lifestyle. But you're not guaranteeing that you're going to do that starting out. That's something that's going to be like a 5 or 10 year plan. Now, you want to study historical and projected trends, meaning that you got to look at the way things used to go and then project how you expect things to go. And then you want to assess the competition, meaning that you want to assess whatever's going up against your ability to be successful. And you want to determine whether your business model aligns with the current market's demands. Now, likewise, when you're doing this for your household, you want to be able to determine if your expectations are aligning with the capabilities of your household. You want to redefine your core business activities and focus on areas with higher profit margins. Likewise, in your relationships, you want to redefine your core expectations of your relationship and then focus more on the things that are more beneficial to you. For example, the shift from low margin service to high margin service offerings, or writing comprehensive plans and defining objectives where you outline the processes and share the strategy with the stakeholders. Stakeholders in your relationship would be anybody that's investing in your success, your girlfriend, your wife, your girlfriend and your wife, your relatives, your best friends. Anybody who's investing in your success, especially if they're continuously investing in your success, you've got to be able to show them the value of what you're about to do. Address the key questions like who are we and how will we fix this? If you use how will we fix this in financial debates and relationships, you have less confrontation and you have less divergent behavior. So you want to make sure that you pay attention to that as well. Conserve your cash and rebuild your stakeholders' confidence by demonstrating decisive leadership. Now, ladies, y'all can learn a lot from this, because if your man is investing in your success and you are spending less money and you are showing him that his investments will turn him a profit, he's more likely to invest in you more, which gives you more accessible capital to spend, which ultimately leads you to the ability to have the financial backing that you're looking for, specifically because you have the capabilities to show him a return when needed. Now, you want to streamline processes, eliminating redundancies, meaning that if you've got something happening more than one time, you don't need to pay for it twice. Reducing redundancies is like having Netflix, Hulu, Stars, Disney Plus, and Pixar. Like all of these different streaming services, when you're only really going to watch one at a time, and the one that you watch the most should be the only one that you're paying for, because the ones that you don't watch very often are really just wasting your money. Usman is here. Special shout out to Usman. We went through the whole album just now, Us. We'll go through it again tomorrow if you want to hear it, but we went through the whole album today. Usman said, reporter, Mr. President, what was his upbringing like? President, folks, if you want to know what Xander's childhood was like, just watch Everybody Hates Chris. That's right. And if you want to know what Xander's lifestyle is now, go watch Shark Tank. Restructuring management teams to address gaps in skills and experiences is the next thing that you can do with restructuralizing your business. And you can do the same thing in your relationships by restructuralizing the individuals whose skill sets do not fit the assignment. You can actually put aces in their places and have more effective people doing more effective things. You want to negotiate with creditors to reduce debt obligations or extend repayment terms. This is just standard for both business and personal life. And when you are working on those repayment terms, you want to implement rigorous forecasting and management practices to ensure operational continuity, meaning that you want to make sure that your ability to stay fluid with success in your business financially and success in your relationship financially is consistent. Therefore, you would be demanding as well as expecting successful results from the changes that you're making in your financial plans in both business and your relationship. Usman says, Xander coming in with the late 2000s shirt. I had one too. Oh, the plaid. Oh, definitely. Definitely. This is actually like, if you remember, every now and again, you might see Al wear this on Tim the Toolman Taylor. He had plaid all over the place. And you know, it's nothing like I thought about it and I was like, I want to wear this tie. And I wanted to wear something I haven't worn in a while. So I haven't worn this shirt in a few weeks. So I was like, I want to wear this shirt. And I was like, let's bring it all together. Throw on the gold vest. It matches the gold in the tie. The black in the tie was actually like dark blue, but it kind of looks black on the camera, which blends in with the black and gold. And then we still have the blue and the red on the shirt that blends in with the purple that can be offsetting to kind of perceive itself as blue. And now you've got a collage of colors where, as I told you before, I typically match my outfit to my suit or my tie. So whatever tie I've got on, everything looks together. He said it's not swag, it's style. Hence, it doesn't go out of fashion. Well, that's the truth. That's the truth. Individuals that dress with street clothes, thug clothes, they try to look cool, they try to look hip. What was hip in the 80s isn't hip in the 2000s, and what was hip in the 2000s is not hip in 2025. The style of clothes that was considered rad back in the 70s is not necessarily the case in 2025. And you will be mocked by society if you wear that stuff. But the fact is that when you're wearing outfits that outstand the test of time, because it is a level of class and sophistication, there is no timeline. There is no season for that. And because there is no timeline and no season for that, there isn't an inappropriate time or place for you to wear it. Now, granted, I wouldn't recommend that you wear a 3-piece suit with gator shoes as you walk into the ocean. However, if you're standing on the beach, there is no reason why that you shouldn't be wearing that on the beach. Everybody else can be in their underwear. But the fact is that if you look like you mean business while you're on the beach, you're doing business on the beach. That's really just the way it is. Like you have to rational, but you got to try to find a way to diversify your closet as well. You do want to be a little bit more fluid with your ability to wear different styles, but again, finding a way to incorporate a level of professionalism, whether it's semi-professional casual dress or strict business professional. You want to be able to have a level of professionalism, because professionalism is not, as you said, swagger. It is a sense of style, self-respect, and dignity, which actually attracts a certain style, self-respect, and dignity in another person. So you're not going to have the average 304 coming up trying to talk to you, because if she's only interested in guys with pants hanging off his behind, you're not interested in her. A woman that sees your outfit and she respects your outfit, appreciates it, values it, and wants to come over and compliment you on it, she's got the same taste that you've got. She's dressing respectfully, you're dressing respectfully, that person will align with your attire. Even if she was out there with some shorts and a halter top on, and she saw you and decided to put on a business suit just to come up and ask you what your name is, it shows that she's willing to change to match your style, to match your image. And anyone that is willing to improve themselves to match your expectations for success is a person that is worthy of being successful with you. But any individual that expects you to devalue or demoralize yourself in any way, shape, or form to be a lesser individual to match their low grade, they're not worth your time or your effort. Usman says, if there's no timeline, will Xander be in a kimono on the next Japan stream? You know what? If I get my hands on a kimono, I'll put on a kimono in this bad boy. Oh, I see it. I see it. It's right there. Sensei Samurai since 1983. Well, yeah, I think that's about right. I think that's about right. Because I am one of the 80s babies, definitely. Going all the way back. Yeah, I'm 41. Yeah, that'd be right. That'd be right. So setting the tone. We're setting the tone. It's one of the ways that we put ourselves out there in a professional sense. It just really requires us to set a standard and stick to it. And when we set that standard and we start sticking to that standard, it's a requirement for us to hold the people around us to the same standard. Now, our standards have to be realistic, which means that they have to be doable. If we can't do it, we can't expect other people to do it. But if we can make it work, then they should be able to make it work too. At least if they want to mess with us. Now, if we are standing on our non-negotiable expectations for behavior and we are not flexing on that, then individuals should be able to recognize that they're not going to be involved in our success if they do not adhere to our non-negotiable expectations for behavior. As a result, they'll be in a situation where they will see our success, look at our success, walk away from our success, and wish that they were a part of our success. In all scenarios, haters are going to hate, but I'm still going to be successful in the forefront. Now, you guys want to make sure that you're focusing on timely collection of receivables and efficient payments of obligations. Now, this could be recognized in a manner of different ways, because when you're covering your receivables in your businesses, you're really paying off all of the stuff that you've gotten in advance on the business. So like when you order things and then they send you an invoice to pay for it later. He said, could I ask a gym-based question? Yeah, go ahead, ask a gym-based question. Yeah, go ahead, ask a gym-based question. On this and that, we talk about this, that, and everything in between. Go ahead and ask a gym-based question. While he's getting that gym-based question together, you also can sell underperforming assets and generate capital for reinvestment into profitable areas. Now, where this would come from is anything that's not making money or anything that's costing too much money, you can sell it or discontinue it. Like, for example, if you can get more productivity from a internet service and a smart TV than what you could from your cable company, you could discontinue your cable company and rely on your internet service. If you are with multiple cars and you don't use all of them, you could sell the ones that you're not using to get you back some profits that you can use to either service the ones that you are using or reinvest that capital into something that's going to make money for you. Enhance revenue streams and refine existing offerings or develop new ones that align with customer needs and market demands. And this one comes differently than others because when you're enhancing your revenue streams, you're really trying to create more profits. So you're going to structuralize your time in your personal life, because that's how you would do it in your business life, but you would restructuralize your time in your personal life to inherently acquire a larger quantity of revenue with a lower quantity of effort. And you would try to reassess your situation so that your effort goes a lot further financially. You want to collaborate with sales and marketing teams. So anybody that's advertising for your success and drawing revenue on behalf of you or your relationship, you want to collaborate with them. And then you want to identify new revenue streams and improve current strategies. So if you've got a friendship group that is, you guys shoot the breeze every now and again, y'all should be talking about ways to make more money together. Y'all shouldn't just be hanging around the campfire, smoking weed and playing video games. Y'all should be able to talk about ways to make money and ways to make money for you so that you're not putting so much effort into making money on a regular basis. Now, you want to leverage competitive strengths to formalize expansion plans while maintaining flexibility. And you want to make sure that you maintain flexibility in your financial structure. And by doing so, when you're leveraging competitive strengths, you're utilizing the ability for somebody else to make you successful so that you can expand your operation, whatever that is in your relationships with your friends and family members, in order to maintain more flexibility where your ability to stretch your financial structure without straining your financial structure will allow you to be successful. Now, Usman's gym question is, which is superior, single sets or multiple set trainings? I've seen several debates on this on forums dating back decades. Well, it is a preference. If you are doing a bulking scenario, you might do single set max weight. If you're doing an endurance scenario, you might do multiple reps with low sets. I have been encouraged, and I have encouraged other people, especially when we were doing health and fitness topics on the show, to alternate. But you're usually supposed to be dealing with about 40% or less of your body weight, but you're supposed to be alternating between reps and sets versus weight, so that you build your endurance and then increase your weight. And you, when you're building your endurance, you're doing high reps and sometimes high sets and high reps with low weight. And then when you build up your endurance, you increase the weight and reduce the reps and sometimes even reduce the sets. And then as you get used to that weight, you want to increase your reps and your sets to build up your endurance. And then once it's back up to that certain level, you increase the weight again. Now, that's the ability to work on increasing your stamina and your endurance with physical lifting. But then you also have the ability to increase your muscle strength, because if you bulk, you can increase your muscle size without actually increasing your muscle strength. And you could do a lot of endurance training that could increase your muscle strength without increasing your muscle size. So you could be like an Ant-Man where you're physically strong, but visibly skinny. Or you could be like the Incredible Hulk where you're visibly bulk, but you're physically weak, because looks can be deceiving. Can I do some research on a more scientific approach? Because it really does depend on what you're looking for as far as superiority in exercising. He said, thanks for taking the question and answering it. Hey, I do the best I can. I can definitely take a look at, like I said, take a look at that question and do a little bit of digging and see what research indicates. But based on my understanding of working out, there's no one way to do it. But depending on the results that you're trying to get from that, it also depends on the quantity of weights that you're using. The answers definitely differ. Hypertrophy, superiority, single sets or multiple sets. Oh, well, I would definitely have to do a look into hypertrophy, because if you're specifically looking for getting big, then you're probably going to be doing the large weights, single sets, when it tears the pectorals, and then the scar tissue rebuilds, and then you get bulkier. But like I said, the superiority, I personally lean towards, and this isn't coming from ratified information because I'm going to have to do some research on this. I'm personally leaning towards a combination of the both. Because if you really want to improve your physical strength, you really want to improve your physical superiority visually and actually with your capabilities, that you need a little bit of both. You need to find a balance of both. Specifically because if you only focus on your physical size, you'll look bulk, but again, you'll be weak. And if you only focus on your physical strength, you will be strong, but you will look weak. In order to get both, you can't do single sets or multiple sets and get both results. You're going to have to alternate, because people utilize single set max reps when they're bulking, and people use multiple sets with low weights when they're building their endurance. So hopefully that answers your question, but I'll give you a more detailed response to that tomorrow night's show, because I like that question. I want to go ahead and look into it further and give you a more theoretical approach to that response. Any thoughts on eccentric part of lifting? I lower the weight for 5 seconds. If you're doing slow reps, you're going to get more results. So if you lower the weight for 5 seconds, and then you pull it back up slowly, and then you lower the weight for 5 seconds, and then you pull it back up slowly, then you're going to get more results than if you're just because you're only going to feel it when you have the most resistance, and then you're not going to feel it when you have the least resistance, and you're not going to feel it when you're throwing it back down, but you will feel it if you're providing resistance to its gravitational pull on its way back down. So slower reps, better results. Now that I know for sure. You can also aid yourself by using exercise equipment where they have those curling benches where you can put your arms there so that the weight isn't going anywhere, and you can just let it go and then pull it up slowly, let it go and then pull it up slowly. And that'll also help you do it. They have in gyms now, they have the, they're not free weights. They're assistance weight training things where they got the cables on them, and you like pull on a machine and it lifts the weights off of the ground kind of thing. And you can utilize those to increase your flexibility or your mobility in weight training. Instead of having to balance a bar and do the weightlifting, you can have a machine where you can do the weightlifting from a balance machine, and that would actually help you build yourself up. He said, in your youth, did you ever go through a gym phase? Every kid before TV came out had a gym phase. Every kid before video games became popular had a gym phase, because when you had nowhere else to go and nothing else to do besides hang out with your homeboy, you guys were locked outside until the street lights came on. You guys worked out outside. You guys exercised. Most of us in teenage years were swole. We were physically fit. We were like 7% body fat, all muscle, all the way around. Yeah, exactly. We had our Dragon Ball Z phases where we were outside just throwing weights around. Then in college, it actually is elective credits for you to take a gym class or a yoga class, and it's a 2-credit gym class, 2-credit yoga class. And if you take those together, that's 4 credits. And if you're trying to be a 12-credit student, you only need to take 8 more credits, which will be 2 lectures and 2 labs. So you end up having half of your semester being health and fitness and the other half of your semester being sciences. So yeah, you can find yourself in a situation for like 6 months where you're working out in college just because it keeps your workload from being so tough. So, and I had that happen as well with like over 255 credits in college. And I definitely got the microbiology, communication and health, and computer technology. But if I would have kept going, I probably could have got something in health and fitness as well. Which is why I do have some fundamental knowledge about exercising and performance, with being able to see results. But again, like personal trainer style, it kind of requires you to be specific about the style of workout that you would like. But yeah, to this day, I still have the ability to put effort into the occasional exercise. Do I have the same training regimen that I used to have in my 20s? No. But I do have the capabilities to perform a minimalistic workout strategy, which allows me to stay a little bit more physically toned to the areas of success. He said, if American college is crazy to me, you can get extra credit for taking a yoga class whilst being a STEM student. Yes, sir, you can. Yes, sir, you can. Because you can get a degree in anything, and anything that can be taught is an elective. Elective credits do not contribute to core credits, but elective credits, because fitness instructor that gets a degree in that or a certification in that went to a school and was taught that. You don't just these days just have a gym trainer train you to be a gym trainer. You typically go to some type of school or trade school or something to that effect and learn how to be a gym trainer, a health and fitness instructor, a life coach. So being a life coach, which is basically giving people advice on how not to fuck up their life, you can go to college for that and get a degree in that, which means that there are classes that you can take in addition to psychology where you can learn how to analyze people's mistakes and then advise them on not to make those mistakes. Now, clearly, while I've covered all of those types of things as electives in college, when I'm trying to be a microbiology student, I'm utilizing a lot of the skill set that I learned in that area in this podcast as a life coach to help people with improving their finances and their relationship styles. So yeah, it does. It goes a long way. Oos says in English, in England, if you're a STEM student, then you will only be doing STEM, nothing else. Well, if you're only doing STEM, you're not learning anything else, which means that you're limited to the 1 degree. But in America, because you have the opportunity to be dual enrolled, you have the opportunity to make multiple degrees at the same time, you have the opportunity to excel in several different criterias before you finish college. That when you finish college, if you finish college with 3 degrees, you cover 3 different subtopics at the same time. If you have a major and a minor, you cover 2 topics at the same time. 1 degree might be 60 credits, but with 255 degrees, I probably have qualifications for a general education degree on top of that, on top of the 3 degrees that I got. But the fact is that if you went to college on STEM, you might finish college with STEM. And then you might go back to college for something else because STEM didn't pay out. But here in America, until you hit that degree status, until you are identified as a grad student, you could change majors and whatever you want to do. You can add on to. You could take a variety of classes until you finish, because they're getting paid for the whole time you're in there. You owe for the whole time you're in there. I deferred all of my student loans until I die. So, I mean, it's just on my credit report as positive transactions, $0 deferments for the rest of my life. I don't have to give them $1, meaning because they sold my debt to somebody else. And because they sold my debt to somebody else, I'm no longer responsible for the debt. Now, the debt's still reported on my credit, but it's reported as a positive account because my debt no longer belongs to the original debtor, the original creditor. So I am legally not required to pay for it. Now, it's still owed to the government, but at the same time, if I want to get those tax write-offs on my student loans, then I can contact the new person in possession of my debt, and then that person can contract me out to be obligated to pay the debt, where then I'd be stuck with the debt. But I would only make that type of financial decision upon the ability to pay the debt off in full, where I would be getting a massive tax write-off for the year that I pay that debt, which means I'd have to be making 60, 70, 80,000 that year in profits, in addition to the standard of living that I have, where my student loans would be a tax deduction, which is why I'd be paying them. Because if that's not the case, I would never pay them. I went to college and got a bunch of degrees, and I am doing nothing with those degrees. I am sharing knowledge for free on social media because of all the knowledge that I got. I feel like I got cheated out of that scenario. Therefore, I'm not paying for a scenario where I was defrauded out of a improvement in my lifestyle with the false hope of getting a big education and then making something out of myself, when I'm going to make something out of myself based off of the skill set that I had going into college, which was the ability to do research, so that I can learn how to gain the knowledge that I need to make myself financially successful everywhere else. So there you have it. But he says, Xander giving dating advice via photosynthesis and osmosis. Well, actually, you're right. Because outside of the blinding lights that I provide to you with the reflection from my glasses, the respiratory system is equivalent to the dating practices of most, where they get into it for all the wrong reasons, and they go through this vicious cycle of trying to force other people to change to their liking after they settle for less. So now you're trying to force somebody to be something better than what they're capable of. And then when you get tired of that, you walk away from the situation and you start over again. I'm trying to teach you that you can start off on a better foot by making yourself better, and then holding people to a level of standards that if they're not willing to adhere to that, then they're not worth your time, which means you're not going to invest any time in them, which means that you're not going to waste time, which means that you can invest more time in yourself and your own success. Now, as men, we're going to become valuable enough that some women are going to start approaching us. And once that occurs, we could just pick from the ones that approach us. But if we continue chasing women that are not on the level that we want to be on in life, and these are the types of people that have already settled on the style of life that they already have, we are setting ourselves up for immediate failure. Because if you are down and unsatisfied with your lifestyle, and you meet somebody while you're down that is satisfied with your lifestyle, as you improve your lifestyle, they will be a burden to your lifestyle, because they will not invest any effort into improving your lifestyle, because they're content with the lifestyle that they have. And that will grow to frustrate you, as we've been talking about on the show today. Now, osmosis is where they're going to bleed into your lifestyle, and potentially a beneficial transition into your lifestyle, where they would be able to aid you in your success. But that only occurs when you find somebody that blends well with your solutions. So yeah, photosynthesis and osmosis. He said, are you wearing different glasses today? The lenses do look extra reflective. It could be the light too. Oh no, these are the gold ones. I have black ones and I have gold ones. I usually wear the black ones when I'm wearing dark colored suits, and I usually wear the gold ones where I'm wearing light colored suits or gold suits or light brown suits or tan suits that could, for some way, shape, or form, offset the gold coloring. So there are going to be days where because I remember I told you they're $805 a piece, right? And with VisionWorks, I'm able to buy one, get one free when they're doing their promotion to buy one, get one free. So I end up getting two pairs for $805, which allows me to spend $402.50 on each pair of glasses, but it's still not cheap. Remember, I told you that I have an extra pair of lenses from when they defaulted on one of my glasses. So I have a blue pair that I have to drive to Tennessee and have them put the lenses into a pair of frames, where those frames might cost me $100 because I'm just buying the frames, but the $399 per lens, I got a free set of lenses that they gave to me because they messed up these frames. So I've got 3 pairs of glasses once I bring them over to Tennessee and get them serviced, which I think is fantastic. But as it stands, I haven't done it yet. Now, once I do make my way over there, then I'll have 3 pairs of glasses. So then you'll see me changing out between 3 pairs of glasses. Now, my prescription is 18 months old, 2 years old now, because I got my prescription a year and a half ago, I think. But once I'm required to renew my prescription for updated driver's licenses or photo identifications, that's when I will invest the money in getting more glasses. Because again, I'm not spending $1,000 every year for glasses. As long as I can see clear enough to read the screen and read the script that I wrote and read the street signs and be able to listen to the navigation system, as long as I can see enough to not crash my car, I can see enough, because I know that even with my glasses on, I can hit a target 40 yards down without the requirement of doing a mag dump. So until I'm not able to hit my target 40 to 60 yards down, I don't see a reason to renew my prescription. So when my Second Amendment is compromised by my vision, that's when I'll renew my prescription. But as it stands, I think I need 3 more years before my driver's license is required to be renewed, which means that I can maintain the current prescription for another 3 years, as long as none of my frames and lenses break. So getting a 3rd pair is always good because I have an extra pair just in case. Usman says, reporter, Mr. President, what else can you tell us? Mr. President says matching his ties and suits are not enough for him. He must match his glasses too. Yes, sir. That is correct. The suit matches the tie and the glasses match the suit. So if I end up throwing on enough gold and tan and light browns, I'll end up wearing some gold glasses. If I end up wearing enough dark colors or blues, I end up wearing the dark, because the black glasses are a smoke blue mirror tint glasses. So, but there's another pair of glasses that is also highly blue and also mirror tinted. So those will give you a blue reflective color on them as opposed to the black reflective color on it. Yeah. Moving on, you want to keep creditors, employees, and investors and other stakeholders informed about the turnaround plan that you have. So people that you owe money to, people that are giving you money, people that are investing you with the expectation to receive financial return need to be aware of your business strategies. Now, this also works in your relationships, because if you have a partner that is giving you money and you're utilizing that money to improve your standard of living for the both of you, you must be able to tell them in advance what you're planning on doing with their money. And as time goes on, you should be able to give them reasonable results as to the progress of your ability to improve their money. So if you invest their money in something that is supposed to turn them a profit, you're supposed to let them know where the profits are. Now, I understand that we've talked about before about building trusts. And if you're building a trust, you're supposed to be able to set up the trust, make them a beneficiary of the trust, and then be able to put the advancements in equity into the trust. You can tell them about the progress of the trust's ability to provide funding. It's up to you as to whether or not you tell them that. But if you are operating a trust that is an overseas trust, offshore trust, that is a non-residential private trust, where your partner can know that the trust exists, but the U.S. government, if you're living in the U.S., cannot impact that trust, then of course, if they know that they're supposed to be getting a certain quantity of money as a payout from the trust, that's all they're getting. What happens and what they're involved in, all of that changes dependent upon, whether or not they stay on the trust. Because again, you can create a trust where the beneficiary, the wife being the beneficiary, could be in some way, shape, or form contracted to be removed as a beneficiary if she files for the divorce. Where if she doesn't file for the divorce, she stays on as a beneficiary. So that could be a contingency where the filing of the divorce disqualifies her on the terms and conditions of her participation as a beneficiary of the trust, where the trust is designed for the family of the grantor. And if she is not the family of the grantor because she has divorced herself from the estate of the person creating the trust, then she's walking away from the trust and she's walking away from the assets of the trust. If you structuralize it in that fashion where when she leaves, she gets nothing, then by all means, when she leaves, she gets nothing. Now, again, you have to recognize that anything that you guys invest in during the relationship can be divided between the two of you. So you got to be careful about that. If in the event that you set it up where she's entitled to a certain quantity of success from her investment into the trust, if you keep her as a beneficiary of her investments of the trust, regardless of how much you invest in the trust after you guys separate, if you limit her percentage to her contribution percent, where you specifically dictate that upon her investment that she is entitled to the percentage related to her financial contribution, where you would notate when she's contributing to the trust and how much she contributed to the trust, and then when her contributions are contributed to investments where investments are turning out a dividend yield, she will get that percentage back from that percentage of dividend distribution. So let's say that your girlfriend's only putting in 15% of the total amount of money that goes into the trust. Well, in that case, if you're getting 15% return on your investments, she's only allowed 15% of the 15% of the return. So if 15% of the return is $1,000, she's only entitled to 15% of that $1,000, which is $150. Now, upon the time that she walks out of the situation, you want to lock that and potentially crack open a whole new trust where the dividends of your share goes into a different trust where 100% of that trust goes directly to you and your offspring. You could literally have a trust just for you and your wife. And then you can have a separate trust for everybody else upon her departure. But I mean, whatever trust that you're primarily operating, you might want to make the trust that you're operating or benefiting from the one that is the beneficiary of her life insurance policy. So you always want to make sure about that stuff. Now, transparency, which is one of the reasons why we're talking about this. Transparency builds trust and encourages collaborations. So when you're strengthening internal communication and investing in training programs to boost morale and productivity during challenging times, you're able to enhance the ability for the people involved to have the drive and willpower to be more successful. Regularly reviewing financial performance against your projections gives you the ability to adjust strategies based on data, insights, to stay on track towards profitability goals, because you never know what's going to happen. You guys had the intent to make a certain level of success, and then you ended up in a situation where you're not as successful as you would have hoped due to market changes, income fluctuations, expense fluctuations, unexpected costs. You have to make changes and make pivots. Now, when you're building a corporate culture that emphasizes profitability, efficiency, and adaptability for long-term success, you would be utilizing these steps in business as well as in your personal life to overcome the financial challenges and turn problems into opportunities for sustainable growth and profitability. Dealing with individuals who create financial challenges in your personal life, whether through poor decisions, bad habits, or dependency, can be exhausting. However, with the right strategies, you can turn these situations into opportunities for growth and even profits. Clearly communicate your financial non-negotiable expectations to prevent others from taking advantage of your resources. For example, if someone frequently borrows money without repayment, let them know you can no longer lend until they resolve past debts. Say no without expressing any signs of guilt. So I'm going to say this one more time to make sure that we're clear. Say no without expressing any signs of guilt. Politely but firmly decline requests that jeopardize your financial stability. For instance, explain that you're saving for a specific goal, i.e., your education, your home, your car note. You're trying to build up. Like, for example, I have to renew my prescription. I need to put a little bit of money aside for that. If you're borrowing money during a time when I am trying to improve my situation, I cannot invest in you. And you need to be able to let them know that as a result of this, I cannot provide financial assistance at this time. Now, we always know that tit for tat is a thing. So if you're not building a financial blanket of success for yourself, as soon as you tell somebody, no, you can't, they will tell you no to everything else. So you will essentially find out that when a person is with you to use you, if in the event that you tell them no, they will come forward less often and they will more so say no. So the moment that you are not willing to invest in their stupidity, they will not be willing to aid you in your success. Be prepared for that. Now, you want to turn financial dependency into mutual benefit. Instead of giving money, offer to help the person improve their financial literacy. For example, help them create a budget or track expenses. Recommend resources like books or online courses on money management. For example, joining this podcast so that we can talk about ways to help you save and make and invest money. Work together to achieve shared financial goals where you're both investing in the same success. You're both pooling your money together for the same success. If they need help managing debt, assist them in finding repayment strategies while ensuring they take responsibility for their actions. Meaning that if you're going to help them out with this, they're going to pay for this, not you. You want to monetize the situation by leveraging their skills. If the individual has talents or skills, you want to encourage them to use these to generate income. And that doesn't mean an OnlyFans page. That means utilizing your skill set appropriately, where you're maintaining a level of dignity and modesty to turn an income. For example, a friend who often borrows money could offer services like babysitting, tutoring, or freelance work in exchange for financial assistance. And when I say freelance work, I don't mean adult freelance work, or we're talking about being able to mow lawns or an electrician or something to that effect. Get a commission only job like Verizon, be one of those door-to-door nice salesmen, be one of those door-to-door Avon ladies or something to that effect, where you're putting in effort to make money on the side based on your ability to make sales. You want to create a win-win scenario. Instead of lending money outright, you want to propose agreements that benefit both parties. For instance, if they need funds, you ask them to assist with tasks you'd otherwise pay someone else for, like your yard work or house cleaning, or derive a contract where they willfully agree to pay back with interest on any amount borrowed. You want to shift the dynamic through education, providing non-threatening advice by sharing financial insights without being judgmental or overbearing. So I'm going to say that again because that got a little bit confusing. Shift the dynamics through education, provide non-threatening advice by sharing financial insight without being judgmental or overbearing. For example, instead of criticizing poor spending habits, share your own budgeting success story and how it would help them the way it helped you. Guide them towards self-sufficiency by suggesting steps like opening a savings account, finding side gigs, opening a high-interest checking account that provides them with 5 to 7% interest rate on a monthly basis. You want to identify why their behavior causes financial strain. whether it's impulsive spending, lack of planning, or resilience on or reliance on others. You also want to look at immature and irresponsible behavior, because a lot of times an individual has a higher quantity of expenses from things like poor driving habits, where you're getting a lot of tickets, traffic tickets, parking tickets, toll tickets, license suspensions, DUIs, and other such situations that might increase the cost of your insurance, which increases the cost of driving, which increases your budget. You have other ways of stupidity, which is poor decision making, like getting arrested at the club. Now you have to pay for probation. Now you have to pay cost of court, community service. These things are not affordable. Damaging your car by showing out in the streets and messing up your alignment, even if you don't crash the car. Doing donuts in the street throws off your car's alignment. Now you got to pay a couple $100s at a time to realign the car. Doing burnouts, showing out for other people. Now you got to spend a few $100s per tire to replace tires more frequently. Idiotic behavior can cost you money. And if you cut that out, you could save you some money. Wearing down your brakes unnecessarily could cost you unnecessary repairs on your vehicle, which increases your budget. Understandably, you got to pay the cost to be the boss, and certain things in life are the cost of doing business, but stupidity should not be a cost factor. Irresponsible behavior should not be a cost factor. The wealthy do not allow idiocracy in their family. An individual is doing too many stupid things in a short period of time that's costing a family too much money. They typically disown that person and leave them to their own devices. And this is what the wealthy do. I'll back you up to a certain extent, but if you're doing too many things too often, you are no longer part of this family. The finances will no longer fund your idiocracy. Now, you want to make sure that you address all of these issues empathetically. For example, if someone is struggling with budgeting due to emotional spending, suggest tools like expense tracking apps to help them regain control. You also can recommend something like delayed purchase. Delayed purchase means that you want something, you tag it, wait 30 days. If you still feel like you got to buy it, see if you got the money for it. If you can wait 30 days without needing it, now you have to justify to yourself exactly why are you buying it? Because if you could have done without it for the past 30 days, you could do without it. Now, if you can't do without it, then it's a necessity. And something that you can't do without is like reasonable transportation to and from work and the doctor and school and stuff, food to eat, proper utilities to maintain a household. That's stuff that you can't do without. But say you've got a car that nobody uses, been broke for 2 years, 4 years, 6 years, just sitting there. It's not insured. It's not registered. Does it make sense for you to put extra money on that vehicle if it's not inside of your budget? If the car can sit there a little longer until you can get some extra money, the car can sit there a little longer. You don't need to. If you own it, you don't got to fix it until you got time. If you're leasing it, it should be covered under the warranty. If you're buying it, you should probably trade it in, because if you're paying notes on it, it should always run. And if you don't have the type of warranty that covers 100% of the maintenance, you're making a mistake, because you should not be paying more money on top of your car's monthly payments to repair the car in addition to the car's monthly payments. Everything should be covered under the warranty. Get your certified pre-owned vehicle, 125,000 miles, 5-year warranty, and you want to be able to make sure that bumper to bumper, inside and out, all the way down to the door handles and power steering switches. You want to make sure that everything is covered, so that if anything breaks on a vehicle, you can drop it off at the dealership. They'll fix it for free and give it back to you, including reasonable body and fender repair. Now, you want to model positive behavior by showing how you manage finances responsibly to inspire change in their habits. So when you have individuals that have a poor spending habit, you want to show them how you balance the budget so that they can balance their budget the same way. If you're in a relationship with somebody who has poor spending habits, you want to balance the budget Explain to them how you've balanced the budget and expect them to maintain the same balance. Now, you want to protect yourself while helping. You want to, if you're going to help with them, because I had to stop and I had to think about this for a little bit. You want to protect yourself while you're helping them. You want to avoid co-signing on loans and never put yourself or your credit or your finances at risk for someone else's poor decisions. When you identify that this is a poor decision, you want to offer non-monetary support instead of cash when possible. You want to help them find job opportunities or negotiate bills. The same way I told you guys how I'm able to take $150 a month off of my bill just by calling them once a month. If lending money is unavoidable, you want to create written agreements outlining repayment terms, and you want to be strict about those repayment terms. You're going to make sure that you throw down interest rates on it with no limit to the quantity of maximum amount owed over the period of time. If they're going to keep owing you after a while, you're going to be able to take legal action to cash out on the remaining balance that hasn't been paid off, even if they settle out of court with a reduced amount. You're getting your money back with interest. Now, likewise, if they borrowed money from you before and they haven't paid you back, or they haven't paid back the interest because they feel like they shouldn't have to because y'all are homies, then you never loan them anything else until they've paid you back. You don't necessarily have to take legal action against them, but until they've paid you back in full on the contract you've originally signed, where there is no statute of limitations to this contract's execution, then it is a debt owed. Because again, debts that default are only able to be collected 10 years from the default, 3 to 5 years in some states. So if you borrowed money from me before and you haven't paid me back in the last 12 months, you can't get nothing from me until you've paid me back in full. You better hand me your income tax refund. But at the end of the day, you are no longer able to borrow from me because you borrowed from me before. And until you've paid off this contract, it's written in that contract that until you've paid off that contract, you cannot establish a new one. And I am required to honor that contract. Now, if you find value for co-signing on the loan, detail the contract and the terms of your investment of their financial venture. So whatever it is, if they got you believing that this is going to benefit the both of you and you are going to see benefit, you want to make sure that you get it in writing. Now, do not invest your financial status if you cannot cover the cost of their failure. Now, what does this mean? If they want to buy a car because they're going to start up a Uber business style scenario and the vehicle is going to make both of you guys money, that's fine. If you're going to make a profit off of this, you can invest in it. However, you're not trying to invest in it if you can't afford to pay the car note, because if they fail to pay the car note, you have to pay the car note. So that car becomes your car because they can't afford to pay for the car. You will not invest in something that you can't afford to cover if they fail. You want to make sure that whatever venture that you invest in closes itself out. If you have to take a financial loss, fine. You take the financial loss because you invested in the financial venture, but the financial venture pays for itself. So if it defaults on itself like a nuclear bomb. It implodes on itself, and you do not have to incur long-term consequences for being involved in that investment. Otherwise, do not invest in it. So an open-ended loan that's going to be sitting on your credit score? No. If you're going to provide them with the cash down payment for the loan that is on their name, where they will be able to give you back a percentage of the loan. For example, your buddy wants to get a $5,000 loan. You loan them $500 for them to get the $5,000 loan. They give you back $550 back, but they're responsible for the $5,000 loan by themselves. Yeah, you can dive in on something like that, because if they default on a loan, it has nothing to do with you. That is a reasonable agreement. But if you're going to co-sign on a loan where if the loan defaults, the loan will fall on you, that is unacceptable. Now, keep in mind, You also could utilize, I told you guys before, authorized users on your credit scores, which does not cost anybody any money, and it doesn't hurt anybody's credit. If you are activating cards that are not being used, this is extra lines of credit. You can build their credit up where you could then utilize, they could utilize the increased credit score to then turn back around and get their own lines of credit where they can borrow for themselves, where they don't have to depend on you as a cosigner. Now that, I would say, that's a good way to go, because it doesn't cost you any money. It doesn't impact your credit score at all. And if you're only going to add them on for, say, 90 days, I would give them 180 days. And the reason why I would give them 180 days is because it only shows up on their credit score after the next billing cycle. And depending on what day of the month it is, you might add them right before the billing cycle or right after the billing cycle. So it might not show up on their credit score for the first 30 to 60 days. After it shows up on their credit score is going to adjust itself, and they might need another 30 to 60 days to qualify for a line of credit that will support them once you've taken them off. That's in total 4 months. If you give them 6 months, they have the ability to apply for 2 or 3 different lines of credit under their own name using their current credit score that is borrowed from you, which allows them to have their own lines of credit, so that when you take them off of your lines of credit 6 months from now, they will still have their own lines of credit. And they would be able to utilize those lines of credit to buy whatever they want, do whatever they want with it, and then turn back around and invest in whatever they're trying to invest in with their own credit line, with their own financial investments. And this is a way that you can help them where it doesn't hurt you. Because if their venture can wait, you can help them build up themselves successfully with establishing their own lines of financial credit. And then after you've helped them establish their own lines of financial credit, you can back out of their financial credit and then allow them to take whatever financial risks that they want to take while you watch. Now, you want to turn difficult relationships into growth opportunities by using these situations as a chance to improve communication and negotiate abilities. Dealing with financially challenging people can strengthen your ability to manage stress and maintain focus on your goals. When you focus on long-term solutions by engaging accountability, you help the individual take ownership of their financial problems by setting clear expectations and timelines for their improvement. You want to invest in relationships that add value to your life. Surround yourself with people who inspire and support your financial growth while limiting interactions with those who consistently drain resources. Now, by setting non-negotiable expectations for your finances, offering constructive solutions, and leveraging these situations for mutually beneficial scenarios, you can turn difficult relationships into opportunities for personal growth and even financial gain. Now, these strategies not only protect your finances, but also empowers others to take charge of their own financial futures. Now, since we've explored the often overlooked connection between our financial portfolios and our love lives, by recognizing the potential challenges and misunderstandings that can arise from financial differences, we can start to address them head on and build stronger, more resilient relationships. While a person's financial portfolio itself may not directly sabotage their love life, the attitudes, behaviors, and relationship dynamics associated with wealth can certainly impact romantic relationships. The key to a successful relationship lies in shared financial values, open communication about money, and maintaining focus on emotional connection, regardless of the financial status. So, if you've got any personal experiences or insight that you guys would like to share, please make sure that you leave it in the comments down below. And if you want to learn more about financial planning for couples, be sure to check out some of the videos that we're going to be setting up in the next week, because tomorrow being Sunday, we have our members only show where we're going to be doing questions and comments from the fans, such as the one that we got from Usman today. And we're going to be providing more insight on Usman's question from today. In addition to all of the other questions and comments that we get from the fans in the comment section of the show. We're going to be talking about a lot of the stuff that's going on with the Trump administration on Monday and any progress that we've seen on any of the mass scale investment strategies that was discussed earlier on this year. And we're going to be talking about the brokerage investment opportunities and brokers that you can get yourselves involved with investments on Tuesday. I believe we're going to be partnering Dubai because we're supposed to be doing follow-up information on Dubai. So we're going to be partnering with Dubai on Wednesday with another country of choice. I'm thinking Chile because I found out something about Chile, and I kind of want to talk about that on the show. And then we're going to be throwing in Dubai at the same time. So that's going to be something that we're going to be discussing on Wednesday. And then we also have more of the relationship advice and social improvement, personal improvement, first person accountability advice that you would need to make yourself personally successful, improve your social network, and improve the relationship with the individuals you have in your network, be it romantic relationships, family and friend relationships, or work relationships with bosses, employees, or coworkers or colleagues. This way, you will be able to be more successful in your business life because they are intertwined with one another. With that being said, that's all I've got for you guys for tonight. We did go over all 5 of the songs that were related to the show. So if you guys want to listen to that, you can roll back onto the show, or you can click some of the links that are in the description, because each one of the songs that are exclusive to the podcast have links to them for YouTube where you can listen to them for free, or links to them for Amazon where you can also listen to them there as well. So you'll be able to enjoy all of the songs, the higher ground songs, non-negotiables, or what is it? Elevation Protocols. That's the other song. I always forget that one. Elevation Protocols. So you'll be able to enjoy all of those songs at your leisure. If you just click one of the live links in the description, it'll redirect you to some of those areas. In the meantime, any comments that come in as we walk out of the show tonight will be displayed during the outro of Higher Ground, outro song, which is also, as I explained, on the album. Special shout out to alanito.music in Switzerland, and Danny in Denmark, who's promoting it for us. So now we got to promote Denmark too. And special shout out to Usman, Nico, Reese Martinez, Joseph Hernandez, Mr. Pibbs, and we got a plethora of individuals on here. Lucas the Poser, Joe, his dad. Special shout out to all the countries that watch us around the world. We really appreciate you guys. And as we always say, Red Void, Danny Steffen, I really appreciate you from Twitch, Twitter. We really appreciate you guys who are hanging out and taking a look at us on Twitter, X. And in addition to that, I want to say thank you, ladies. As long as the situation doesn't make sense, ladies, I'm going to keep asking y'all to make it make sense. So, ladies, please make it make sense. And fellas, 75% of y'all watching the show, this is a male-driven podcast from a male's perspective. We greatly appreciate your support. Thank you guys for coming to This and That. I'm your host, Xander, where we talk about this, that, and everything in between. And I'll see you guys tomorrow night.
Higher ground. Used to chase validation, now I validate My network is my net worth. Choose your company wise. Surround yourself with eagles, not with sheep in disguise. Every interaction is a reflection of my brand. Quality over quantity, that's my personal command. I'm not landing on higher ground where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds, raising the bar, breaking ground. I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision, cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield to mediocrity and chaos. I will never I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision, cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield to mediocrity and chaos. I will never yield.